Buenos dios. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master Teacher 33, and today is Saturn's Day, Saturday, July the 9th, 2022, and the time, time is 3 p.m. Central. But we got a powerful message today. We're going to jump right in. The title of today's message is really, how can I serve? How can I serve? Once we understand that we are light, and light is sound made visible. And so the title of the message is light is sound made visible. But you can't really pay your light bill with that. So in order to pay your light bill, we got to look at it from the perspective of how can the sound that is made visible be of value to myself and my fellow man. When we are able to verbalize it in that particular perspective, that allows us to change the game. Oh yeah, and I'm back, they got the power fixed at the house, and so we did a couple of days in the hotel, so we back home. House is now nice and cool. The meter outside the home was the issue. Wasn't really anything going on inside the home, although thankfully we did replace all of the outlets inside the home because two of them suckers was very burnt to a crisp behind the wall. So that could have easily sparked a fire, blah, blah, blah. So, as always, maybe that's why all of this happened. The big G was trying to tell us, hey, you got a couple of outlets in your wall that you can't see, but I can see, so we're just going to shut everything down. That way you got to check to find out what's going on, find the problem, bam. So, as I say all the time, all things work together for the good. Although it may seem like it was an inconvenience because it was so hot and blah, 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 but it all worked out. This works out the same way. So you are sound. You are frequency. You are wave. But light is sound made visible. But we got a conundrum. What's the conundrum, Doc? The conundrum is you're not visible. See, I'm not talking about visible. I'm talking about visible like, oh, snap, who is that? Yeah, come on, preacher. So I'm talking about that. I'm talking about Dr. Martinet. You should walk into a room, Dr. Martinet, and your energy should show up before you show up. Everybody should have a feeling of great anticipation. Then you take the stage and everybody be like, oh, snap. That's the great Reverend Dr. Bishop, Dr. Martinet, Stevens herself. And then that's when you're able to rock and roll. So once we understand how the frequency rolls from the perspective of everybody on this call, you are an individual expression of sound on earth. This is sound, because sound does what? Well, sound stimulates cells. In vitro, in fact. So when you understand the game is sound. And so even the hair molecules on your head are stimulated by sound. And all of us are sound because can sound alter your DNA? Absolutely. So we all know, well, we should know. If we don't know, we're going to learn today. We're going to learn today that sound, frequency waves, verbs, and vibrations, they are actually, this is, kind of what we've been talking about every night when we're talking about the auditory pathway. So this is the auditory pathway to success. That just simply means that when sound is made visible, three things happen. When sound is made visible, your job is to make your sound visible. Why? Because this is how you serve. That's why we're all here, by the way. You're all here, in case nobody told you, the only reason you're here to increase your life. That's it. Drop the mic, exit the stage. We could go home. But hey, don't hang up yet. Don't hang up. We still got we got bigger fish to fry. Although I gave you the smoking gun. There's still more fish to fry. So don't hang up. Because at the end of the day, so we're starting with the end today. So that's the crescendo. You're here to increase your own life. That's it. Now, Doc, how do I increase my light? Well, let's start with what is light. Because light is sound made visible. So now you are nothing but frequency. Your organs, that's why they call organs. It's a musical instrument. Your heart beats, do 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 do. That is the sound of light. Then we have an ear drum. We could keep going through all of the body, or your whole anatomy is nothing but a musical instrument that God is playing. So God is sitting down at a piano, and the piano is you. Damn! Come on, preacher, you preaching now. Yeah, I know. Right, Dr. Martinet? We bring the pain today, Dr. Martinet, because, that's just how we do it. So light is sound made visible, but you're not visible. I can't see you. So if I went on Facebook and I posted your name, how many people would know your name? Now, I'm not talking about this, Kardashian, Wheat Jellyback Hollywood, Housewives of Atlanta bullshit. I'm talking about visibility is the result of value. So my value makes me visible. So now, why are you here on earth again? What was the crescendo? You're here to increase your own light, not mine. Now, I appreciate you. I hey, thank you for, helping me increase my shine. But you're here on earth to increase your own. Now, thankfully, the way that you increase your own is to increase somebody else's, because that's how you know yours is of value. So there are different possibilities of reaching your own destiny or diakonia. Everybody here is on earth for one purpose and one purpose only. That is destiny or diakonia. To find it and increase it or monetize it. That's the purpose. So in other words, you have to keep coming back to earth until you figure this out. So that's the whole purpose that you're here. You're here on this planet. You will stay on this planet. You will keep coming back to this planet until you figure out, how can I serve my light to the world? But the world is you. It's WHIRL. Once you master that, then you go to the next world. You go to a new world. It's a whole new world, right? But we can't oscillate and vibrate on that frequency wave of vibration until we see our own worth and our own value. Because you are here, because light is visible sound. You are a sound. So to be sound, you got to be sound. Ooh. Come on, preacher. So to be sound, you got to be sound, because what? Sound stimulates cells. So sound production leads to perception. Sound production leads to sound perception. So if you produce the right sound, it's going to activate my perception. And say it again, sound production leads to sound perception. So everybody has the same conundrum. What's the conundrum, Doc? The conundrum is, boo-boo, you're not producing enough sound. Your sound is not affecting my perception. What does that mean? So when you walk into the room, your sound should make me stop and do what? Perception means the ability to see, the ability to hear. Perception means awareness. Perception means to become aware of something through your senses. Perception means that there's a state where you are processing sound into light. Because sound is light made visible. That's value. So you are supposed to be oscillating and vibrating on a level, because sound stimulates my cells. Just the sound of you stimulates my cells. And so your job is to make sure that you're sound. Now, sound is, in other words, sound is, it really means firm. It means that you should know who the beep you are. That's what it really means. So sound is not created until someone has established a stance that creates a circle. So sound means that you are taking a stand, or you are taking a stance for something, that creates a circle stance or circle around you that stimulates all the other frequency waves and vibrations in the area. So when you are able to see yourself, then I become aware of yourself. So you should be in the sound production business. Everybody should be in the sound production business. See, if you're not in the sound production business, then I'm not going to be in the sound perception business. Because what I'm looking for is, it's like if I was a talent scout and I'm looking for a new girl band, or if I'm looking for a new boy band, then I'm going out and I'm listening to the sound that the band is producing. That sound is going to give me a perception. I'm going to be like, damn, you know what? That band sounds good, or she sounds good. So if I'm doing an audition, you produce a sound. When you produce that sound, then I'm going to perceive that sound. I'm going to be able to identify and organize and interpret. So what happens is this identification, this organization, and this interpretation of your frequency wave of vibration is flawed. But you're going to blame it on the reverend, the doctor, and the bishop. But I hate to be the bearer of good news. In fact, I was, having a conversation right before the show, and I was having this crazy because it's like, I'm living my father's life, and my son BJ is living my life. It's crazy. This shit's like deja vu. I'm like, oh snap. So like he has, he's young, went to the military. Now he has a wife, and he has 3 daughters. I remember when I was young, I was in the military. I had a wife. I had three kids. It was a girl, boy, girl. And he's like, Dad, he's trying to force things to happen. And I'm saying, Jola, don't. Yeah, dude, that's the thing that I did. I took a lot of risks that I didn't have to take. Thankfully, things worked out, but, I made a lot of mistakes. Like one time I rented a U-Haul, and I never rented a U-Haul, and I had a car in the back, and he's doing the exact same thing, except his wife is doing it by herself with 3 girls. And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, why not? I could do it, Mr. Rogers. I was like, yeah, no shit. I know you can do it, but should you do it? You driving down the road by yourself, and you got 3 babies in the car, and you pull in a vehicle in a U-Haul in Texas, and you got to drive through Alabama and Louisiana and all these other states to get to where BJ's stationed at? Yeah, but I don't want to wait. How long I got to wait? But it was the 26th. But the days are nice. Yeah, but the 26th, I want to do it with my husband. Okay, well, BJ, you go down and get your wife. They won't let me leave until I graduate. When you graduate, 26th. You can't do nothing until the 26th then. Well, we ain't waiting. I remember I used to do the same shit. I was like, oh, hell, I'm going to do it on my own then. That's what I did when I went to Japan, and they said that it's an unaccompanied tour. I'm like, what does that mean? Well, you can't bring your dependents. I'm like, why not? Well, we don't want them up here. After 2 weeks, my whole family was up there. Well, in that case, it was just the wife and 1 kid. I paid for that out of pocket. Myself. Lived off base. And encountered a lot of ups and downs. Wasted a lot of, well, not waste, but spent a lot of money. What's the point? The point is this: organization, identification, and interpretation. Everybody on this call, you're here for one purpose and one reason, contrary to popular belief, is you're here because source code wants you to increase you. That means that your alignment with your assignment, plus your knowledge of yourselves or yourself, takes you out of a negative timeline, negative habit pattern, and it puts you into another timeline. So let me make sure you guys understand. Like, there is a global timeline that we are all on right now. So can we really affect the cosmic, and can we affect the United States? Can I affect the state of Texas? So the 1%, they know to keep you out of the omniverse. That's what source is. I got to put you in another verse. So they come up with the metaverse. The way they do that is through fear. So the dominant culture knows the same thing as a lion. When a lion roars, the sound of his roar, it discombobulates his prey. Number one, they get startled, so they get tunnel vision, and then they just run right into a tree. Bam! And then the lion just go over there and he got some meal. This is called the ghost frequency. So the dominant culture knows that pretty much every Alkebulan is in a ghost frequency. Now, it's not the Alkebulan's fault, and it's not the non-Alkebulan's fault. The fact that, man, we are not previewed to, like, all of the ancient texts and all of the information, like, man, it's crazy because everybody, your organs are made up of crystals. Like we're light beings. Like we are light beings, but they started us off with the 5 wounds of Christ when he was crucified. Those are the 5 major energy centers that connect you with God. So they disconnect you from God. That's what the whole story about Adam and Eve is. So when Jesus was crucified, it was not a story of him ascending. It's a story of him descending. That's why he said he went down to Hades, to death in the grave, and he took the keys of death, and he gave his death where is your sting, grave where is your victory. That's why when he's on the cross, he says, Ila ila lama sabachthani. And because we don't speak Latin, Greek, we don't understand it. We don't understand, man. We just got, they gave us, Jesus. I just can't. You would have to see it. Like the first time I saw it, if you read my book, Vatican Deception, if you go and if you read any of my book, Allegro, John Allegro, my boy that I talk about all the time in the Latin phrase, then you would see why what we're talking about today is so important, because the light, the sound that we have, is not the original one. And so the dominant culture gave all of us the ghost frequency. This is not, nobody wants to talk about this. Why? It's boring. Like for real, like this is like, what else you got? But unfortunately, this is it. Because nothing is more important than your perception. Because the word perception, it means per and the inception. The inception, that means like your seed. It's like, if you put the number 6 on the ground, somebody stands at the bottom of the 6 and looking at it. Somebody stands at the top of the 6 and look at it. What does it look like? It looks like a 6 if you're at the bottom of the 6. It looks like a 9 if you're at the top of the 6. That's perception. Perception is the fact that there's 2 people looking at the exact same object frequency, but the dominant culture put us here, and they controlling the frequency, or they controlling our perception of the frequency. So nobody's questioning the dominant culture. Nobody, well, not nobody, but few of us are questioning what's going on. So when I talk to somebody like Dr. Martinet, and we're talking about plasmonic photonic beings. And if somebody walks by and they hear us talking about, plasmonics and photonics, and they say that we are all, really, we're all plasma. We're all plasma beings. Well, some people would understand plasmonics or plasmon or plasmonic nanoparticles, or what is called plasmon X resonance. All of these are just words that have to do with plasma. But our blood is primarily made up of plasma. And so the dominant culture, they now have a material that mimics plasma. Now, we already talked about synthetic nanobots or nanoparticles, because remember, the dominant culture's goal is to make sure that you never know that they're the dominant culture. They want to make sure that you never question the culture. You just, this is the way it is. We do, redlining. In other words, all the black folks, you can buy a house, low on that side of the tracks. If you black, you can't buy a house on this side of the tracks. All of the bankers are in on it. So it doesn't matter what bank you go to. They all going to say, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Jim Bob or Mr. Jim Bob. We would love to, loan you X amount of dollars on this property. Your credit's great, sir. Your job, you checked all of the box, but you still get, I'm sorry. It's like, we was at the hotel today, I was checking out, and I knew this was going to, because there was a lady, I was waiting there, white couple in front, the lady was checking out. I'm behind a white couple. We're just there, I'm just waiting. It's a Hispanic lady behind the counter. Another Hispanic lady walks up, and she stands, she didn't get in line, she just stands over to the left. So I've been standing there for a good, almost 2, maybe 3 minutes. The lady made eye contact with me. She knew I was next. As soon as the white couple finished, she immediately looked at me, and then she turned to the Spanish lady and said, hi, how may I help you? And she went and helped the Spanish lady. Then after she spent helping the Spanish, then she came and she helped me. And it was funny. I just laughed because as soon as, because I was standing there and I was getting a little impatient because they was arguing over the bill. And I'm just like, well, I'm sorry you got to take it over corporate and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just need to check out the hotel to get up out of here, man. So another lady knew I was next. And my spirit told me because I was already impatient. So my gut was like, your patience getting ready to get tested, bruh. And I was like, what? And sure enough, the lady, and I'm like, you guys are kidding. Ain't this some shit? And right when I was about ready to go off, it's like I got checked. So this is what I mean by the only reason you're here on this earth is to go through. We're not here for our light to hang out with other light. You are here to take your light into dark. That's why you're here. Now, I'm a light worker. I'm a positive thinker. I like to see the glass half full. It's never half empty. Excuse me. But my conversations are with people who see the glass half empty. So I was talking to my son the other day, as I got him straight. Then I had a conversation with my daughter. She was going like, Dad, she's pregnant. And she had an altercation. So she gave this lady a piece of her mind and, gave her husband a piece of her mind. And then she calls me. She says, Sade, what's going on? Dad, you're not going to believe what just happened. What the mother? And then I said, Sade, why you compare yourself to other people? Well, everybody else my age doing this, and they got this, and they got that, and I don't have. I said, Sade, you open up your third location, like 1, 2, 3. And we're talking brick and mortar. We're not talking about internet businesses. You're pregnant. This is going to be your 4th child. You're a badass mama. You're making money. You're doing this, that, and other. And you getting upset over what again? So you are here on this earth because you're supposed to be a light that stands on a hill. You are a lamp that needs to be on a lampstand. What good is a salt if it loses its flavor? So yes, you are going to draw people who need your light. So you should not be surprised when they show up. You shouldn't curse them out. You shouldn't tell them I'm sorry. My light's out. No, Source sends them to you because they need, number one, they need your connectivity. That's why you're a super God on earth. Number 2, they need your, admiration. And number 3, they need your communication. I think I got it backwards. I think it's admiration first, if I remember. What's the point? Well, let's go through these 3 steps of how to increase your light so that way you can get off this planet. Now, when I say get off this planet, I mean get off the 3D. When I say 3D, I mean fun, fighting, and effing. I like fun, I like fighting, and I like effing. But there's a higher frequency. What's the higher frequency? Okay, that gets into what we call faith, family, and finances. Now, I threw out the word faith, and I like the word fun because the word faith is overused. Fun means focused on conditionally in the now. Same thing as faith, except it doesn't have the Christian connotation. I try to stay away from that because then you get into the whole, you see, the devil is way smarter than you. The devil wants you to use languages that Christians use, so you go right back into the frequency. Because remember what we said at the beginning of the show, this has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with control. Now, if you don't understand what that means, then this has to do with guilt. It has to do with making you feel. Because what did we say at the beginning of the show? The whole world is about the ghost frequency. What is the ghost frequency? Well, the ghost frequency is the same thing that the lions use. What do the lions use? Well, the lions have a certain range because, remember, light is sound made visible. Well, the lion use sound to incapacitate. So when a frequency of electrical magnetic waves induce a certain chemical response, bam, that is the ghost frequency. Only the dominant culture does that. It's in all 18 hertz, by the way. It's in all of the movies. Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's in all the scary movies. So what are you saying? Well, why do they put it in there? Because they want to elicit a specific type of response inside of your meat. They want to put issues in your tissue. It's the reason why when you eat meat, this is really probably the only reason that I, detox, is if I went through all of the names of all of the type of worms that you have inside of your bios or inside of your guts, then you would be doing a detox too. Because those are demons. Like it says in the Essene Gospel of Peace, they help to keep you trapped in this D-I-E, mention. So it's a mental, but it's a mentality of death. That's what it's called, dimensions. So I'm here to help you change dimensions. Dimensions. The means dimensions. So your job is to understand that, okay, the key is that 19 hertz, you don't need to know this, it's not about the number. Because the dominant culture would change the number to like the blood pressure. They say, oh, you got blood pressure if you got the diabetes. Excuse me. If your sugar gets here, and then when they need more Negroes on medication, they change the numbers, and more Negroes get on the medication. That's how it works. So don't worry about the frequency numbers. Just know that there is a frequency wave of vibration that when it's released into the body, it produces cortisol, and it produces adrenochrome. Why? All them invisible demons in your stomach and all the invisible demons, those shadow people that's hanging around you, they feed off of you. You their food. You like a cow to them. Same way we look at cows like, damn, that's a good piece of steak. They look at you and like, damn, that's a good piece of steak. So frequency is a standing wave, standing. It's a single standing column of 19 hertz or 19 cycles per second. So the key is for you to understand that it exists. Because guess what? 99 out of 100 people don't even know that there is a solid sound spread spectrum, SSSS. Now, Hitler used it back in the day. That's why it was called SS. Now, this frequency, it creates discomfort. It creates dizziness. It creates blurred vision because it vibrates the eyeballs. We used to use it in the military. Then they have crowd disbursement weapons when I was a cop. You know what they got out now? Ooh, they got some shit out now that make you hyperventilate. It actually produces, it instills panic where you get nauseated. And if you stay there, and if you don't move, your ears and your nose will start bleeding. They got that right now. They're pointing at the crowd. And everybody starts getting sick. Everybody starts getting discomfort. Their eyes get blurry. Their heart starts palpitating. They don't even know what's going on. They out there marching out in front of Planned Parenthood. Next thing you know, they sick as a dog. And they say, man, I know I went to the march, man. I came back sick. Yeah, no shit. Your ass got that silent sound spread spectrum. That's the frequency of fear. Now, everything on the planet that's promoted by every event is tailored to keep you in that box where you hyperventilate. Where really, we could talk about all the symptoms, but really it's just HPA, what we already talked about before. Cut to the chase. Everybody has, especially black folks, primarily because we are the main ones that, dumb enough to go out and march. Every time a black person does something happens in the black community, what do? Let's go picket. Let's go march. What they've been doing that shit since what? Dr. King. Before then, what did it do though? Answer, ain't shit changed. In fact, it got worse. Because look at the statistics. Don't debate. Remember, you got to look at the statistics. What is the level of ownership in America in the black community from the 60s to today? What is marriage levels from the 60s to today? Shit go back to the 20s. And shit changed. Except the HPA axis of dysfunction. The only thing that's changed is the HPA. That's it. So everybody's hypothalamus, everybody's pituitary gland, and everybody's adrenal gland is burnt out. Why? Chronic, repeated stress is the number one way to release cortisol and adrenochrome or adrenaline, because the reptilians feed off that. That's their food. That's their oxygen. They got to breathe. They got to keep you in a state of fear. Now remember what I said at the beginning of the show: organization, identification, interpretation. What that means? Sound production equals sound protection. Sound means it's firm. It's solid. That means I can stand on it. That means that it's authentic. But life is sound made visible. So you got one job. You got to be visible. Okay, how do I become visible? You become visible by finding what I call your diakonia. That's your destiny. So you got to increase your own light. How? By increasing yourself. So how do you do that? Well, number one, you got to connect with yourself. First thing you got to do is connectivity. It's like when you go to the light, like we had an electrical problem, that's why we stayed in a hotel last couple of days. The electrical problem is fixed. You know what the guy found out was wrong? Well, let's go. Connectivity. Some of the wires was burnt out. But that wasn't a real problem. He fixed that and it didn't work. It didn't stop. The AC didn't come on. So he kept looking at different stuff, unplugging this, that, and the other. He found out that the connectivity problem was external. It wasn't internal. He found out that we was not connected. Our house was not connected to the source of electricity. That's your problem. You got a connectivity problem, boo-boo. All problems are exactly what I just experienced on a physical level, same shit on the mental level. Now, your job is you can get deep and get into the plasmatics, get into photonics, and to understand that you are light having, you are sound having a light experience, because light is sound made visible, and sound stimulates cells, and your sound that you produce leads to the sound that I perceive. So if you don't like the way people see you, it's not their problem, it's you. You got a problem. So what do? Amplify yourself. Because guess what? Sound creates light that makes you visible based upon your value. So to change people's perception of yourself, increase your value of yourself. Okay, that sounds great. How do we do that? How do I increase my worth and my value? Which gets back to what I asked you guys to write down last night, which was, how can I serve? Did anybody write that down last night? Did anybody ask themselves? Remember, the best person, if you got a question, ask yourself. I've been doing this for years. At night when I go to bed, I write. If I got a question, I ask myself, I say, self, how can I do blank? And then I go to sleep. Then a day, 2 days, 3 days later, bam, a thought just pops me upside the head. It just drops in my spirit. I get a spiritual download. And then the spiritual download reminds me, remember you asked me this question? Well, I got the answer for you. It was like today when I was checking out of the hotel, and I got the spiritual download. Because I knew that the person was going to ignore me because the person that walked up looked just like them, and they didn't look like me. Or, I didn't look like them. So like attracts like. So that's the spiritual download. So the first problem that we have is connectivity. Because if you are connected to source, source will tell you everything before it happens. Well, at least he tells me. So you would know. Now, remember, they're going to use the ghost frequency to keep you in the axis of evil. So that way you second guess yourself and you don't go with your gut. Do you know how many women that I've talked to who said that they knew in their gut that their husband was cheating or that this was happening or that was happening, but they didn't listen to their gut? It helps us a lot. Because women, y'all know. Y'all got a sixth sense. Y'all are built by God to do exactly what I'm telling you to do. But it starts with you staying connected to God, not to a building. So the further away you are connected to God, the less visible you are. The less visible you are, the less value you have. Because sound is nothing but light made visible. That's it. So when I want to be seen, if I want to be heard, if I want to be valued, if I want to be respected, if I want to be admired, I got to increase my visibility. If I want to increase my visibility, I got to increase my value. If I want to increase my value, I got to increase my connectivity. And if I want to increase my connectivity, I'm not creating my connectivity with you. I'm creating my connectivity with myself. If I want to create my connectivity with myself, I'm creating a connectivity with Source, because Source is the self. So how do I increase my connectivity with myself? That goes back to what we talked about the day before, which gets into what I call, self-love. There's no greater love than the love of oneself. Now, a lot of people will challenge you and say, well, you know what? You should spend time with and energy on and your current, which is your attention. But you should do what? You should love yourself. Well, what do you do next to increase your connectivity? Well, the next thing that you do to create your connectivity is, because remember, frequent creates frequency. So I frequent, but I want to frequency. Ooh, if you get it, man, your life will change. Thought attracts thought. So I'm always in the state where I have. That's what I do, which allows me to continue to be. Ooh, if you get it, it'll change your life. That's high performance. So once I connect with myself by self-love. Now, as we already talked about, self-love is just simply treating yourself like you love yourself. That means that if you really love yourself, you would not allow yourself to get addicted to Popeye's chicken sandwiches. Because you know that the negative modified organisms inside of the meat, the blah, blah, blah. Now, I didn't say that you don't, go out and grab one every day. But if you're on a diet of just Popeye's chicken sandwiches, eventually your blood pressure, the cholesterol, your arteries are going to be clogged up. You're going to have some issues. So what do? You would not make choices and decisions to, continue to smoke. You would not make choices and decisions where you never, ever, ever exercise. Because if your heart rate never, ever goes up, you can't look me in the eye and say, I love myself. Because love is an action word. Love means you actually do shit. You don't talk. If you really love yourself like you say you do, then you get your ass up off the sofa. Because guess what? Love demands. It doesn't ask. Love demands a response. It say, respond to me, boo. See, but thought with resistance keeps you inside of this low vibrational persistence. That's the same thing as the ghost frequency. So number one is connectivity. But you connect to yourself. How? Love yourself. How? You see worth and value yourself. Now, it doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter where you start. You just look at your most pressing problem. It could be financial problem. It could be a health problem. It could be a wisdom problem. It could be a relationship problem. But if there is a problem, because remember, problems don't exist. The big G don't have problems. So that's false reality appearing real. So now I got to expose it. I got to expose it for what it is by taking massive actions to love myself. So when you start loving yourself, then guess what happens? This is how we increase our own light, which increases our own value, which increases our visibility. And as you may or may not know, light is sound made visible. That's all it is. Light is sound made visible. Now, once you understand that you are sound made visible, What if you're not visible? That means you're not creating enough sound. You're sound, but you like 3D, fun, fighting, and effort. So fun, fighting, and effort is a low vibration. And that once you see that it's low vibration, you see how they keep you in that low vibration. How do they do it? Well, they create a narrative. Right? Everything is going. So supposedly, it was on the news last night. They said COVID is coming back. And they recommended, the CDC came out with it saying, we recommend that y'all mask up again. Now, I already did a study on what happens when you breathe your own carbon dioxide. There are little children walking around. I see them every day. There are little children walking around with masks on. Now, people are emotional. People are not logical. But it's okay. Because that's their nose. It's not mine. Most people I know are very emotional. I know very few people are very logical. Right, Dr. Morsenet? Remember Dr. Morsenet talk, we'd be like, damn, what is going on? What are these people doing? Because people can't think. Remember, the hardest thing in the world to do is to think for oneself. Now, remember, it took me 40 years to figure this shit out, so I'm not talking down to anybody. Sound production leads to sound. Sound means the shit's firm. That means it's good. That means it holds the test of time. That means that, again, it is faith beyond trait. That means it's based upon, or it is, how can I put this delicately? It is beyond chemical triggers. What do I mean by that? Well, like when I was in the hotel, I had to be beyond chemical triggers. What does that mean? Well, I know my button is getting punched. What button? Well, I'm not a very patient person. My wife would be, she would verify that for y'all. What does that mean? Well, I let shit, when I like it, when I want it, I want it. I'm a very meticulous person. We put it that way. What does that mean? Well, some of y'all call it perfectionism. Some of y'all call it anal retentive. Well, you and I, we got to work on that. What do we got to do? Well, we got to live beyond chemical triggers. We got to live beyond sound-invoked psychological reactions. Because on a molecular level, when we look at the biotechnology that's used by the Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, Dominant Culture, they figured out that the evidence supports that an artificially generated sound wave can contribute to your robustness or your decline. So sound is an omnipresent feature. I like that word, omnipresent. That omni means all, present. Remember, that's one of the attributes of God. God is omnipresent. So sound is omnipresent. Although it propagates beyond our audible wave pressure, meaning that you and I can't pick the shizness up. But it's there. But we can't detect it. It's on a different decibel. The decibel intensity, speed, and direction is beyond. It is beyond. So remember I said that you and I, we got to be beyond. Remember I said that I have destiny beyond my traits. You do too. Everybody is calling, your destiny is beyond your traits. So we gotta connect beyond your traits. So that means that I'm not going to allow somebody to punch my button. Unless I decide, you know what? Today's the day. And I'm going to use some sound-based communication so I can blow out somebody's eardrums. Then that's when I kind of take a back seat. And then, Willie comes forth and, we can verbally, because remember, I'm a communication specialist. So you don't want to get into a verbal altercation with me. Mm-mm. I take all comers. You can ask all the fools on Facebook over the last year. I was having so much fun debating people on Facebook that thankfully the Big G did a download and say, Negro, this is why your black ass is broke. You spending 8 hours on Facebook debating some fool that you don't even know. He's probably just a bot. You have too much fun debating because that's your gift, debating. That's why I don't debate. I educate. I have to retire. I'm a retired debater, Dr. Martinet. I can't debate because I understand that's a trick from the cost most grator. Now, every once in a while, Dr. Martinet, you know, we all Dr. Martinet. Dr. Martinet, she feels my pain, right, Dr. Martinet? Dr. Martinet feels my pain, y'all. So now I'm going to do the show and I was like, damn, who am I going to call when I'm having a bad day? When Superman have a bad day, who are you going to call? I was like, shit, I don't got nobody call Dr. Martin with T-Text and say, after you can call me. Appreciate you, Dr. Martinet. Dr. Martinet knows my pain. So, when I have a bad day, what does that mean? That means that the enemy attacks me in the area of my giftedness. Same way he does you. So, my gift is my connectivity. That gives me the power of what I call communication. Now, the communication is with myself. It's not with anyone else. That's why I heard that little voice in my head today when I was checking out from the hotel that prepared me and saying, you about to get disrespected. Don't go cuckoo. It's okay. It ain't the end of the world. Like, take a deep breath. Do your warrior breathing. Deep into the nostrils, out through the nose. So me and the spirit, we have this communication. Like me and God, we talk all the time, man. I'm telling you, y'all should connect, number one, so you can communicate. Number two, I'm telling you, it's going to save you a lot of money and a lot of embarrassment. And guess what? A whole lot of time. Because you're going to have all this time because you live in your head now. So I'm in my head, somebody comes talk to me and I say, and they're like, excuse me. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I said, no interruption. Because I'm in my head. So if somebody walks up to me in the elevator and starts talking to me, sometimes I'm just sitting here at the computer, the wife will say something, and I'll be like, babe, she kept saying my name 3 or 4 times. I said, oh, I'm sorry, babe, what'd you say? She said, I was calling you, fool. I'm like, oh, okay, what you want? And he said, you didn't hear what I just said? I'm like, no. So you ignoring me again? No, I wasn't ignoring you. I was, me, myself, and I, all 3 of us, shit, we was talking. Like, we had a full-blown conversation. We was planning, we was like Pinky, we was planning to take over the world. So, what was your question? Because I am connected. I have connectivity. But I'm telling you guys, I'm in like a whole other world. And so when people tell me what's going on in the world today, like the COVID's coming back, like people not quite, and the wife was telling me about it, I was like, what do you mean? They're like, and I watched the news, and they was like, yes, we recommend it. If you go out in public, if you put on your mask, and if you do this and that, if you got 6 days, regardless of if your test comes back negative, if you get exposed to anybody, you're supposed to compound, or what they call it, when you stay in the house, for 6 days. I'm like, are they doing that shit again? Like, I don't know. I guess I was asleep. I don't know what the hell. I missed it. So the dominant culture, they use sound to produce your perspective. Wee! Let me say it again. So by watching TV, I change your ability to see. Damn. Can't get it back either. Let me say it again. By watching TV, because what does T stand for? Tele. What does the V stand for? Vision. I cannot make this shit up. So when you watch TV, you cannot see. And you cannot be what you cannot see. Right, Dr. Martinet? I don't want me to bring Dr. Martinet on the call. Dr. Martinet will shut it down. Now, let me go a little bit deeper. Dr. Martinet said, Doc, go a little bit deeper. Well, let's go a little bit deeper, y'all. Y'all ready? So sound is an omnipresent feature. That's why sound is always associated with God. Sound produces an audio wave pressure. And it is through a transmission medium. It needs a transmission medium of exchange called gas, liquid, or solid. That's why you can't heat shit if there is no molecules. What are you? Shit, you're a molecule. You're made up of what? Cells, cellular molecules. So you are the medium of exchange by which Lucifer moves around. Because that fool's a sound. He's a sound god too. So what do? Your job is to do what I do. Turn off the audible sound that is being sent to you by Lucifer, 19 hertz. Keep your ass in fear. Because the corresponding wavelength that matches that frequency, 19 hertz, Lucifer, is the speed of sound. That simply means that the medium by which the waves pass through, the fundamental property or the material, it affects the living organisms so that the organs produce and perceive only that sound. Oh, Dr. Martinet, I don't know if they got it. I don't know if they got it, Dr. Martinet. I don't think, did y'all get it? Okay, y'all didn't get it? Okay, let me look it out. So this is called sound-based communication. That's why through the eardrum, there's a specialized, they call it a mechanical sensory system, the eardrums. But it's primarily only in terrestrial mammals. What does that mean, Doc? What does that mean? That means that when I send your ass that ghost frequency, it only affects terrestrials. See, well, I'm a celestial. Come on, preacher. See, I'm a plasmonic being. So when you dropping down, when all you're doing is 3D business, fun, fighting, and procreating, that shit affects you, boo. That's why it doesn't affect me. That's why certain things that happen that everybody get all amped up about, and I'll be like, damn, what's going on? It's like, man, you didn't see what's happening? So now, what happened? Shit, Roe versus Roe v. Wade got turned over. I was like, what? Shit, he turned over in his grave, he turned over in the bed, what the fuck happened? Say, dude, you don't watch the TV? No, bro, I don't watch TV. Not like, when I watch TV, it's a specific program that animate my spirit. That's why I only watch programs that are real, meaning science, like the programs that I tell you guys to watch. Why? It has esoteric significance. I don't sit here watching a comedy show where people just walk around talking about each other's mama. Why? That shit does not animate me. Now, I'm not saying you gotta be all anal-retentive and the kids is watching the program, blah, blah, blah. Turn the TV out. No, I'm not talking about that. This is about you, boo-boo. I try to control other people with your crazy. You keep your crazy, I'm gonna keep my crazy. Right, Dr. Martinet? We're gonna keep our own crazies. Keep your own stance in your own circle. Don't project your crazy onto somebody else. So all I'm simply saying to you today is the dominant culture knows that I got to keep you at 19 hertz and below. So there's no music, nothing on TV, no food, nothing. You notice that if you get a can of anything, there's zero. It has no vibration. It's dead. You know, like most fast food. Y'all been watching my boy, Brother David Andrews, when he talks about all of the poisons and everything from your deodorant to your bleach to food to clothes. Excuse me, everything. So what does that mean? They hide it in a place where we visit. That does what? Interrupts your communication. So number one, connectivity. Because what are we talking about? How you're on the planet to do what? You're on the planet to increase your own light. How do we increase our light, Doc? What is light? Well, light is sound made visible. You are a sound being. You are a frequency, wave, vibration. This is plasmonic, photonic. So you are a holy grail grid engineer. You're here to engineer the grid system because you are set apart. How do we do this? Well, there's different possibilities of reaching the same destination. So what I mean is you got free will. Well, what does that mean, Doc? Well, I'm here. My mandate is MT33. What does that mean? In English, all thing that means is I signed a soul contract and I placed certain obstacles in my way to remind me of me. Well, who is me? Well, like you, I am an individual expression of God. I am an individual expression of God. on a 3D reality. So I got to go back to 9 or 12D, depending on who you talk to. Okay, how do I go from 3 back to 9 or 12? The way that we do that is by going through and aligning with our design. Align my mind with my God-given design, I'm guaranteed to shine. So design plus gnosis or knowledge equals shine. That changes the timeline. Anytime I want to change the timeline, I got to get inside of my design. So I'm on a timeline. So are you. But there's no such thing as time because we're eternal. That's the trick. The trick is to get you in time. So how do I get you in time? I trap you in time. Because you're going to voluntarily go, y'all too smart. So what I got to do? I got to have a carrot. What's the carrot? Big cheese and a big badonky don't. If the cheese and the big badonky don't ain't attached to source. So what's not a carrot? Well, lust of the flesh, cares of this world, the pride of life. Those are only carrots. So the lust of the flesh, ladies, it's muscles and cars, but the Negro's brain is dust. Okay, that's a carrot. Lust of the flesh. Men, you already know. Men, big cheese, big badonky donk, we're gone. Right? But what if the big cheese and the big badonky donk is dumb as a box of rocks? That's a vampire. She's going to suck the life out of you, bro. By the time you wake up, though, your ass going to be toast. So that's number one, lust of the flesh. Then we got the pride of life. So the pride of life is you just into cars and houses. And, you very proud. Right? I got my degree from Harvard, my brother. Where'd you get your degree from again? Is that a historically black college? Well, we don't associate with those Negroes. Y'all know how y'all bougie Negroes be doing. Stop playing. That's all that's brand new. So we got the pride. Negroes is proud. Now remember, I used to be one of those Negroes, except I was proud. I used to wear my pain as a badge of courage. My wife always reminds me. I used to take oh, did you suffer like me? Give it back. Like I suffered. You know what I'm saying? I got beat with a metal pipe when I was 5. You better recognize and put some mother respect on my name. I used to be forced to walk around in circles. We was chatting some shit. I didn't even know what it was. I saw this thing, this dude, he was dancing inside of a fire. He came out of the fire and he started walking around. And then he danced right back into the fire. I saw a cow turn into a tall, they call it the Thin Man. Remember he was in the movie. He had him this long, thin, like Abraham Lincoln dude. Had this tall top hat. Then he turned into a cow. And me and my brothers and sisters looked at each other and like, we didn't just see what we just saw. We used to call it dead man's turn, a dead man's curve. So we used to run from my grandmother's house back to our house. Nobody walked at night. Not from my grandmother's house to ours. I saw crazy shit when I was a kid. Now, was it real or was it by imagination? Don't know, don't really care. What's the point, Doc? What's the point? Well, I used to wear my pain and kill everybody. And then I wanted some respect, God damn it. I wanted privilege. Since I went through some hard shit as a child, I get some white privilege. I get the white man. Now I get to go to the front of the line. If I go to the movies, I can go cut in line. That's what the white man does. Why? If the white man got privilege, how come I can have privilege? That's the world. That's how you know you're Lucifer's B-I-T-C-H. Now remember, as a retired Luciferian myself, I didn't read this shit in a book. Everything I'm telling you guys I already did. So I used to, but I'm retired. So the way that they keep you trapped in the 19 and below, so that way you don't grow. So you cannot challenge the frame. You cannot intellectually. Because remember, everybody's emotional, but nobody got reason and logic. Everybody is like, God damn it, this is wrong, Doc. I'm gonna burn it down. Negroes is going off. They shot another black man in the back. Did you see it? Yeah, they can shoot black people in the back. Ain't shit gonna change. Because that's the system. So what are we supposed to do? Did they shoot you in the back? Is it one of your, well, okay, when the shit comes to your door, then that is your turn up the back. Until then, you should be focusing, you should be exercising discipline, you should have some order. Your life should be full of fun. Focus unconditionally now. So we got the lust of the flesh, we got the pride of life. Woo, the biggest one, cares of this world. Cares Can I speak on it, Dr. Martinet? Can I speak on it? Dr. Martinet, I can speak on it, y'all. So, y'all ladies have y'all little cheerings. I'm not going to say no names. Triple chocolate. Oh, damn, did I say it out loud? Oh, my bad. I said that clip, y'all. Disregard the last statement. So y'all have y'all little cheerings, right? Little Johnny and little Susie now is all gone. Y'all would do anything for little Johnny and little Susie. It's the cares of this world. Woo-wee. Now, ain't nothing wrong with it. Let's just call it, we're going to call a spade a spade. Dr. Martin, I can speak on it, y'all. So, now, I got a Corvette. Now, I'll be talking about triple chocolate, but let's talk about me. Now, I like my Corvette. Let's keep it real. When I went, like last time when I went to the hotel, I had to try to find me a special parking spot. So that way there was no cars parked next to my car, because I didn't want no dents in my car. I don't have to, have to be answering no questions by the cops. They said, well, damn, Mr. Rogers, why'd you shoot him 16 times? Well, that's all my magazine only holds 16 rounds. Yeah, but witnesses said that he just looked at your car, sir. Yeah, he just looked at it a little too long, so I shot him 16 times. So I got some issues I need to work through too. Now, y'all know I'm just playing, but what's the point? The point is we all have things we care. Anybody look at the definition of the word care? I looked it up a plethora of times. The first time it's like the word bless. First time I looked at the word blessing, I was like, why does everybody say blessing? Then I looked at the word morning. Then I was like, why do we say good morning to people? I stopped that shit quick. That's why I say, you never hear me say good morning. I say grand rising. I ain't trying to curse y'all. Like, y'all can curse yourself, but I ain't going to be a part of y'all crazy. Remember, I got my own crazy. Me, myself, and I, all three of us, we like batshit crazy over here. We do triple chocolate. We don't need no comments for the peanut gallery. Okay, no comments. So we're crazy, but you know what? We like all crazy over here. So the word care, the thing that's crazy about the word care is it means it's a state of mind in which one is troubled. Now, as a retired troubler, I used to go and cause trouble. In fact, I was damn good at it. Right, Brian? My sister would tell you. I was like a little pest when I was a kid. My sister Brenda just be minding her business. I'll go over there and slap whatever she had in her hand out. She'd be reading a book. I just run by, slap it out of her hand and take off running. I would run by, pull her hair in. I was just like a little gnat. I was bad. But I took pride in my badness. It's like, it takes a lot of energy and effort to be as bad as I was. So, but I didn't understand until, I see adults that take care but the reason that we care for people is because, as exactly the word said, when you understand, my brother, praise Jesus, I am worried, I'm concerned, I have anxiety, because you know what? It's like, Shamori used to tell me all the time, Dad, come pick me up at this time, no earlier, no later. I don't want you sitting in the parking lot waiting because you're worried that I'm going to have a seizure. If I have a seizure, all my friends know what to do. I don't need you concerned. Yeah, Shamori, but I'm your eye that I'm 18 now. It's not your responsibility. I can take care of my damn self. I'm like, okay, Shamori, you do you, boo. Oh, I let her do it. And guess what? She did it pretty good. You see, brothers and sisters, the people that you caring about, they probably, in fact, I'm going to put all my money on it, they don't need your care. They don't need your worry. They don't need your anxiety. They don't need your concern. Now, here's the billion-dollar question. Okay, what do they need? What do they need from me, Doc? They need your admiration. They need your support. They need to know that you respect them enough to allow them to be them. By doing what? Making your light shine. By spending all of your time having your mind occupied with their design, not your own. Now, the thing about people is, I'm the same way. Do you want, if I became, my quality of life is more important to me than the longevity. God forbid if something happened to me and I lost the quality of life, then I'm good. Don't put me on no damn machine. My father was the same way. He told me, first thing he said, boy, he could barely talk, he was on his way out. And the lady, the hospice lady asked us, what about I need you to sign this no respiration, whatever, they stop breathing. My father said, do not try to resuscitate. I was like, Dad, are you sure? He couldn't even talk about it. He made it clear. And the same thing with the, if you brain dead kind of thing, like, I'm the same way. If I'm not the way that I am right now, if there's a decision to be made, you can unplug the machine. Now people say, well, people come back. Yeah, that's true. I'm good. I'm doing everything that I can. All the shit I want to do, I'm doing it now. So that way, if I'm ever in that situation, like I said on my tombstone, when I'm gone, here lies the Negro that did everything that he wanted to do. Ain't shit on my bucket list left. I'm knocking out the last couple of things right now. So, you see, I can't get trapped by the cares of this world. So somebody comes along, hey, here you go, here's a carrot, buddy. Shit doesn't work to me. Why? I'm my own carrot. What's my carrot? Purpose, destiny, diaconia. That's my carrot. It's internal. Thank you. So there's no external demonstration because I got internal revelation. So when you do that, what happens? That makes your life valuable. Because where's all of your attention going now? Where's all your attention? Number 3, admiration. So I have connectivity, I have communication, and I have admiration. Of who? My mother, beep, 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 self. Now, I know this is not a TDJ's message. So I hate to disappoint y'all. So I'm not talking about no God in the sky. I'm not talking about you're supposed to spend all your time and your money giving it to the church or to some other preacher. I'm saying you spend all your time and your energy and your effort to your mother, beep, beep, beep self. Why? Because you are an individual expression of God on earth, so is everybody else. So when I treat you as a God, guess what happens? God treats me as one. And you treat me as one. So how do I treat me as a God? Connectivity, communication, admiration. So you cannot admire what you don't communicate with. You can't communicate with what you don't connect with. So all I'm simply saying to you today is, every day that you wake up, since light is sound made visible. Now, I can see you. So light is sound made visible. That again, light, everything that we see is sound. But sound is invisible. But when sound is compact and it slows down, it becomes visible. So you are light. And light is sound. You are a phonon that is turned on by or into a photon. So this is photonic, plasmonic being. Can we preach a little bit, Dr. Martinet? Now, all this shit is inside of my book called Black Magic. So to make sure, I can't see you if your sound is low. So when you drop down, guess what happens? I can't see you because you're in a state of fear. I was going to say, God's not giving us a spirit of fear. He gives us a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. So if your mind is not sound, I don't know. Sister Cheryl, can I preach a little bit, Sister Cheryl? Sister Cheryl of the West? Can I drop it like it's hot? You see, brothers and sisters, your organization is based upon your identification, which is based upon your interpretation of what I just said. So I'm building a worldwide organization. That worldwide organization is based upon my identification with myself as source. But that identification, that is based upon my interpretation. So the dominant culture controls your interpretation. Well, let's close with how they control your interpretation. Because they control framing. They control the South. Ah, yeah, them good old boys, Luke and them. Y'all know them good old boys, Luke and them. That's all we say down here in Texas. Yeah, Luke and them. Who the hell is Luke? So they know that the human ear, which gets back to the auditory pathway of the senses, you have to guard the high frequency, medium frequency, and low frequency waves that enter into your cochlea. Cochlea. It's the cochlea ear. And your tailbone, at the base, the bottom of your tailbone, you have the coccyx. If it's on with cock, that's what I'm about to tell you. Because it's sex magic. But it's not magic. It's magnification. So the word magic means to magnify. So the way that you magnify the ear and the coccyx. Because the coccyx bone points up to what? Christ, lunar, germ, seed, oil. And that goes up 33 bones. Thus the 33. 33 bones of your spinal cord. But the cord is a musical chord. It's a tone. It's a frequency. It's a wave. It's a vibe. It is a verb. So C-H-O-R-D. That's how you be. So I'm asking for a friend. Does anybody know anything about the harmonic set of pitch, aka frequencies, that's made up of multiple notes that creates a sounding simulation? That's you, boo-boo. You are multiple notes that are played together and create a specific chord. Remember, math, music, and language. The enemy knows that harmonics. So harmonic, photonic, phononic being. That's what you are. So my brothers and my sisters, I got a sales pitch for you today. Because the word chord means a musical harmonic multiplication of notes. When I get a bunch of notes in your body, it's called nodes. Lip nodes, N-O-D-E-S. That's what I told you. N-O-D-E-S is N-O-T. The bones, that's your tones. So when I get a bunch of bones together, them dry bones, them dry bones, that don't sing. And get back to work and sing. Triple chocolate, again, really no comments in the background. Thank you. So the pitch, get your ass in the ditch, or if you got the right pitch, your ass gonna get rich. This your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, aka Master Teacher 33. Y'all already know I'm at the top grinding and shining. I love you, and there ain't shit you can do about it. I'm gonna see y'all at the top. God bless.